Hey everyone, Adam and Andrew here with It Takes Two Takes. We're here to talk about the Disney film Raya and the Last Dragon. This is going to be a review, what we thought about the film, the pros, the cons, of course. With that said, if you like these sorts of reviews, if you like watching us reacting to various things, things we enjoy, things we've never seen before, if you like some just original content and thoughts we have about movies and television in general, check us out. Like, subscribe, comment. If nothing else, thanks for the view, right? So, Raya and the Last Dragon, Adam. This is it's a Disney animated film. It's the first really follow up since 2019's Frozen 2, and much like Frozen 2, we have a fantasy adventure yet again. But unlike the last fantasy adventure in Frozen 2, it's not a musical, so it's a little bit different in that regard. And of course, we're talking about sort of Southeast Asian culture and that sort of thing. So overall, this film, hopefully, if you've seen it, you do currently have to get it on Disney Plus. You have to pay for it. So I don't know, Adam. Actually, let me take a pause. Are we going to spoil this one? Are we going to do both?
We are going to end up spoiling this one. I think it's been out
Okay.
for the weekend, so those who are diehard and those who are going to watch a review on it, heads up, spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that said, we are going to talk about spoilery content with this movie. We hope you've seen it, and if you have, and you're watching this, please share your thoughts. So, with that said, Adam, what did you like about this film? What stood out to you?
I don't know. I think part of it was the world building. I kind
Mm-hmm.
of like the world that they had set up. It was a little bit different. It wasn't trying to say this is set on necessarily on Earth or anything like that, but at the same time wasn't claiming some special planet. It was just, hey, we're gonna tell you how this world is set up. There's the like five kingdoms or whatever, and this is what's going on. I kind of like the world building. The creatures were very much different than what we would expect here on this world. So it's very much a complete fantasy story. And at the same time, kept a very Asian theme to it, which I appreciated and enjoyed as well. So I think it was a neat story. It was as far as I'm kind of happy it's not a musical.
Yeah.
I think the characters were fun and entertaining to watch. Yeah, I don't think there was anything about this that really made me go, well, that was dumb. Um, at least not off the top of my head. Maybe you have a different
Well,
thoughts.
wait till
What?
you hear what I tell you. No, I'm just kidding. There wasn't anything I thought was really dumb. No. Yeah, you know, positive. Absolutely. The world building. I thought it was really cool. I liked the idea of this Kumandra and then how they broke it into the different sort of pieces, the fang, heart, tail, talon, spine. It was interesting in that regard. And if I had any complaint regarding the world building, it's that there was so much going on. It was impressive. I don't know that the runtime of a feature length film was really enough to justify everything they could have really dug into. It just felt very rich. And that's to its credit, but I felt like it was something you could make a series out of and would have been enjoyable. But with that said, the level of animation that went into this film, it looked phenomenal. I love the way that the colors popped, especially when you had the water dragons and just every different environment with all the different, you had darker areas, you had sandy areas, you had areas that were more, it was raining or it felt more regal. There were so many different locales that were just popped on screen. I can only imagine what this would have looked like in theaters. I think it would have been fantastic, especially like if it were an IMAX level, So I really enjoyed that. I thought the Disney has been, I mean, honestly, the last Disney film that made me think like these colors are incredible while Frozen looks great was Moana. I couldn't help but think about that. I just thought that that was a fantastic looking film, and it really appealed to me. And the way that they chose to, animate the water and all the different locations that they went to. So yes, that would be really my pro. Other than that, I don't know if you caught this, but I loved James Newton Howard's score. That stood out to me. I liked they were using like they were using lutes and chimes and sort of your traditional instrumentation, but then he would put in synthesizers. You know what I mean? I thought it stood out to me. I was very impressed by what he did for that film.
I think the dragons. I like the dragons because they weren't your traditional style dragons, which I really appreciated. They're more the sleek, linear ones that are very Asian or Chinese and style. But at the same time, they weren't these massive dragons. They were much smaller, which I thought was great. And Aquafina's voice was perfect, right, for the dragon.
Mm,
I mean, she did one. She's distinctive anyway, so as soon as she started talking, you knew it was Aquafina immediately. Um, so yeah, I think it was done neat. I liked the fact that each of the different areas were very stylistically different,
yeah, very
and
distinct for sure.
very distinct. But I also love the voice cast they chose for this, right? So they made a very Asian looking movie, and they kept, other than Andy Tunick doing the furry pillbug sidekick
Tuk Tuk,
of
yeah.
Raya, right? Tuk Tuk. Um, everyone else was Asian, which I really appreciated. Um, the actors that they had were great actors, even in their own right. I mean, there are people that you'll recognize from regular movies. So yeah, I think they did a great job with the casting, the voices, the animation, the fight sequences were done really well. I guess if I was gonna have any sort of a negative on it, is the fact that are the villains, other than obviously the clash between the different villages,
Hmm.
the main threat are mindless, faceless
The
smoke.
Drones,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so very limited understanding to a certain extent of motivation, other than they're just there and they just turn everything to stone.
I
Um,
guess you could argue almost like the man versus nature sort of theme, but we're talking more fantasy and
but
spirit
at
realm
the,
type level stuff.
right, but at the same time, I don't. Maybe I missed it. I didn't understand why every statue ends up in like the praying handout form.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, and then someone had even mentioned that it had something to do with collecting the rainwater. It was like a known pose. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna botch it if I try to explain it, but that was.
Okay.
I was wondering the same thing. So
I guess that wasn't explained well enough for me, at least in the movie. The motivation of why they all end up, except at the end when they were touching her, they all got to be in their own unique pose. They didn't automatically
I
all get
noticed that too.
reposed. I'm
That's funny
like,
you say that because I saw it. I saw noticed the same thing. Yeah.
I'm like everybody else ends up in that pose except for uh, the last few people. Just so the one character could see them all huddled together. Um, yeah, so if I was gonna have a critique, but it's minor. It's a minor, tiny thing. So I don't want to seem like I really that really stuck in my gall or anything like that. Um, yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I think I'd like to see Disney do more of these type of stories. Right? I'd love to see them to keep expanding. Not all of them have to be musicals. I mean, Moana and Frozen were
Oh,
great,
sure.
but I think doing stuff like when you've got things like Zootopia and you have this and these interesting worlds that don't necessarily need song and dance around it, I think it's neat. You could really focus on the story, and yeah, I'd like to see them continue to do more of these type of things.
I agree, and I talked about how rich the world building was, and it kind of worked against it, in my opinion, at times, just because there was so much that exposition that was required from the characters. It's like you got to get the movie going, but I'm loving it. I just want to. I know we got to tell a story here somewhere, and I'm interested in backstories of some of these characters. Like what, like Tong, like what's his backstory, and there's so many people that just kind of they start to, you see it from Raya's perspective, and I credit to Disney, credit to the screenwriters, to the people that wrote the story. Like it's a very rich world, and I think you could have a lot. Even if they just do like a trilogy, something, I think you could explore it. And there's no shortage of ideas I think that can be generated from what they created. You mentioned Sisu, Aquafina. That was the one thing I was going to nitpick about, is I wasn't really feeling her as much. She grew on me as the film went on. At first, it felt a little abrasive. I think Aquafina is funny. I've enjoyed her in the things I've seen her in, but for some reason it wasn't. I almost felt like I was seeing someone. Because it was Aquafina, I guess. Like I just felt like it was her dubbing over the. It's just something felt off to me and disorienting. But over time, it started to gel a little bit more. I warmed up to it. But that would have been my only nitpick thing. Something about it, especially early on, just didn't feel like a fit for me. And I don't know if it was just these visuals and the fantasy element. All of a sudden, you've got Aquafina cracking jokes that didn't always land, but overall, they were fine. That was my only little nitpick. But anyway. So I don't want people angry at me for that one. I'm just giving my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think for me, I think Aquafina's voice being so distinctive, you immediately recognize as Aquafina, right? It's kind of like at this point, if you hear Ryan Reynolds in an animated thing, like when he
Sure.
was in Pokemon, you automatically knew. I kept seeing Deadpool, right?
Right.
I think it's almost that level of voice recognition that it takes a little bit longer for your brain to kind of connect into that character. Um,
I think it's
and
that, and I think it's the film needs to cater to that too, though, because like Robin Williams, I knew his voice immediately, of course, when you're seeing the genie, but the film kind of played into the looseness, and I didn't feel the film was loose until she came into the picture, if that makes any sense. This felt very almost fantasy and epic, and all of a sudden Aquafina's cracking jokes, and the film worked with it over time, but early on it was a little jarring to me. That's all.
And I think another thing I really appreciated about this film is it didn't feel the need to have some sort of romantic subplot going on in it.
I felt the same way. Thought the same thing. Yes.
Moana didn't have that romantic subplot
Right.
either, which I appreciated. But with Frozen, obviously, you had a romantic subplot in there, and most of Disney stuff they love throwing a little bit of a romantic subplot in. And I really appreciated that wasn't there. I think it would have been very distracting. I don't think
Yeah.
would have been totally unnecessary. Now, granted, I suspect if they did a sequel, there would be one. But I,
Maybe.
it's hard to say. But I'm glad it wasn't there, and I think it worked really well not having one because with everything that went on, it would have been weird if all of a sudden Raya meets like the guy of her dreams and the leading up to saving the world. Hey, there's only a few people left that aren't turned to stone, and she just happens to meet the guy. That would have
It's
seemed so off to me.
it's weird that we're saying that would feel out of place because I agree with you and weird. Yet we've got a baby running around performing martial arts on people and throwing diapers at them, and
With a gang of monkeys as her sidekick.
right.
Um,
Which again, also something I was like, what is happening? And then over time, I'm like, okay, this is what it is. It's fine. My kids
yeah,
loved that, so
and I appreciated the fact that they had done the time jump also, right? We start off in the beginning with the events that put everything kind of in motion, and then
yeah,
we get a nice time jump, um, which we didn't need, any type of montage or anything like that. You just understood it's like 5 years later or whatever, and boom, she's already been searching, and she's just at that last branch of the river is all
right.
she's got left to check, right? Though I guess they didn't truly give us a good understanding of why Fang was following her at the very beginning there when she's going down that last path. I don't know that
Mm.
they gave good. I mean, they didn't give a really great motivation on why they were chasing after her. Um, but it helped with the plot. But yeah, I think a little bit more of an understanding of why they were after her would have been nice. But no,
Yeah,
it was good. I think it was neat. Visuals were great. I think the world building was great. I would definitely recommend it, and
I would as well. Yeah.
there's a good possibility I'll end up watching it again at some point. So I
I'll
definitely
say
enjoyed
I'll
it.
say this. Maybe this will get people angry. I don't know, but the I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed the first Frozen when I saw it. I liked Frozen, but I don't. But it's just more for me. It was more about the world. It's nothing against musicals. I enjoy those just all the same. But I don't know. From a world building perspective, I just bought into this much more than I think I initially did with Frozen. Upon repeat viewings, I've learned to appreciate it more. But I'm just saying, anyone out there that's hearing that, maybe that'll turn you on to this. I don't know.
I'd like to see Disney continue on doing more of these type of films, and
Definitely.
I don't need this to be a sequel. I don't need to, I'm sure there will be lots of people dressed as her at Disneyland and Disney World since she'll be considered a Disney princess. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with this property, if they let it go at what it is or if they try and run it to death to make more money. We'll see.
We'll see.
But with that, I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are your kids putting it on repeat at this point, and you're gonna get sick of it if you're not already? Let us know what your thoughts are in your comments down below. Again, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you next time with It Takes Two Takes.
Hey everyone, Andrew with It Takes Two Takes. We're playing some royalty-free music, so don't even bother Shazamming that one. We got videos over here I think you're gonna enjoy, and there's a button over here I'm gonna enjoy. Let's make this all work together, right? Please subscribe, check out what else we have going on. Thanks for watching.